I closed my eyes and sighed, stretching out my body, my legs digging down deeper under the covers, and I expected that at any moment my toes would touch the wooden bedstead, but they did not, and I smiled to realize that the bed was longer than I was, that I could stretch out as much as I wanted, and I did so, pleased to feel my aching limbs loosen up as they reached as far as they could, the toes dancing beneath the sheets, a sensation of the most delightful pleasure, until a pair of hands grabbed both my ankles tightly, the fingers pressing sharply against the bone as they pulled me down into the bed, and I gasped, dragging myself back up quickly, wondering what kind of terrible nightmare I had fallen into. Throwing myself from the bed, I pulled the curtains across and ripped the bedspread away, but there was nothing there. I stood, my heart pounding. I had not imagined it. 2 hands had gripped my ankles and pulled me. I could feel them still. I stared in disbelief, but before I could gather my thoughts, the door flew open and a sharp light filled the corridor, a white, ghost-like figure standing before me. Isabella. "Are you all right, Eliza Caine?" she asked. I gasped and ran towards her and the comfort of the candle. "There's something—" I began, uncertain how to explain it. "In the bed, there was— I could feel—" She stepped forward and held the candle over it, examining it up and down from the pillow to base. "It's entirely empty," she said. "Did you have a bad dream?" I thought about it. It was the only sensible explanation. "I must have," I said. "I thought I was still awake, but I must have drifted off. I'm sorry for waking you. I don't know what came over me." "You woke Eustace, you know. He's a light sleeper." "I'm sorry about that," I said. She raised an eyebrow, as if she was considering whether or not she could find it in her heart to forgive me, but settled for a polite nod instead, and left me, closing the door behind her. I stood by the side of the bed for a long time, until I could convince myself that it must have been my imagination playing tricks on me, and then finally, leaving the curtains open to allow the moonlight to pour in, I climbed back into the bed, pulling the sheets around me, and slowly, very slowly, allowed my legs to stretch out once more where they encountered nothing other than the soft sheets of the bed. I closed my eyes, convinced that I would never sleep now, but exhaustion must have overtaken me, for when I woke again, the sun was streaming through the windows, the rain and wind had dissipated, and a new day, my first at Gaudlin Hall, was upon me.